I sort of didn't recoil, but I was like, you said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, these things are not preordained. These don't have to happen. This isn't automatic. And I have so little expectation that Senate Republicans will ever do the right thing that I really did. I thought you were wrong on Gates and on this. But it would appear, based on NBC's reporting from 23 hours ago, that 6 Republicans are not comfortable with Hegseth as Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, I said this is not normal, it's not acceptable, and it's not inevitable. And right now, the key to all this, I think, is Joni Ernst. You asked me a couple weeks ago who's going to be key here. Joni Ernst is a combat veteran. She's much more moderate than Pete Hegseth, and she's a sexual assault survivor. So he's going to have to sit across from her and explain how he's going to effectively lead people like her, how he's going to pass her criteria to be the leader of a military that has 200,000 women in it. After he's also made the policy position that he wants to remove women from military, which I've said before, from combat, which I've said before means they're not equal, right? He's saying to Joni Ernst across from a senator, you are not equal to me. You can't do the same things I do. Now, if she votes no, or she comes out of this meeting that he may still be in with her now and says she's got reservations, I think he's done. And I think Trump will very quickly put DeSantis forward, or maybe even put her forward. That's the irony here, is if he had put her forward, she would have gone right through. I don't think many Democrats would have stopped her, and he would have had another crisis to deal with. But I think right now it comes down to Joni Ernst, maybe Lindsey Graham, maybe some other moderates, but most of all her, because she's got the influence among her colleagues, and she can stop this single-handedly.
Weigh in on what Matt Dowd's talking about, that you've got him using this language of a deployment, saying, I don't have a problem with alcohol, and if I'm deployed, I won't take a drop.
Look, I mean, there's so much stuff out there right now, and there's probably more to come. This is damage control.
Did you know all this stuff? Because I feel like
I didn't know any of these allegations, right? And I don't. But he is known throughout the community as a person who's political, who's become much more extreme, who's said crazy stuff on TV on a regular basis. He's written crazy stuff, in my view, in his book. So that part of this is public. And America is getting to know the guy that most Fox viewers know. If you watch Fox, you know who he is. I think there's a large part of the country that didn't know that part of Pete Hegseth that is now getting to know him. And I think at the end of the day, our enemies are celebrating this. Putin loves to see this kind of crap. Right now, the disruption and the tumult is, well, we've got issues like South Korea right now, where this person is going to have to deal with issues like that in the months to come. We need someone who's stable, someone who's balanced, someone who's moderate, and someone who's trusted. And right now, it looks like he's not trusted even by his own Republican colleagues.
Matt Dowd, you said something that is endlessly fascinating to me, and that was this point about where the line is with Trump, right? It isn't corruption. It isn't nepotism. I mean, Kushner's off to pardon wasn't enough for Jared's dad. He's now getting an ambassadorship. There's another in-law getting something else. Sexual assault, allegations of rape and sex trafficking a minor. That's not the line. The line is where you said it was. That's not normal either. But it is fascinating and sordid, and something to sort of keep our eyes wide open as this hasn't even started yet. Trump isn't president until the end of January.
You know, this is something I don't think we spent enough time talking about exactly. You know, and I agree with Paul that these things aren't inevitable, as we've learned in the course of this. And I think we've learned one line, and I think we're about to learn. One of the lines is, if you can't be disliked by enough senators, you can't be disliked by enough senators who don't like you personally, a la Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz didn't fall apart because of the child sex stuff and anything like that. He fell apart because he was disliked by a huge amount of people in Congress. That was his problem. I think another line for Donald Trump is, you aren't good on television. If you're not good on television, that would be a line, which is why he put a Fox News host in a position of power at the Department of Defense. And so I think one line, which I've always thought with Donald Trump, because if you examine anything he said, is drinking. That's a line for Donald Trump, a personal line, because of what he went through and what his feelings were about his brother in the course of this. Not always compassionate towards his brother, as we've learned when we read about this. The other thing I want to talk about, I'm the father of a Army son who was twice deployed, and the brother of a Marine, and the brother of somebody that served in the Coast Guard nearly 25 years. And one thing different than the Defense Department, and Paul can speak to this, that's different than any other department, it is that there is the level of character of those who lead you is exceedingly important to how you behave. And so it goes all the way down from private and corporal, how a sergeant behaves, how the captain behaves, how the lieutenant behaves, how the colonel behaves, how does the general behave. All of those establishes a line and that will be drawn of they can't exceed. And if you have the head of the Department of Defense who doesn't seem to have a line on these things that are important in character in the military, sexual assault, lying, all these sorts of things, that is going to filter all the way down the ranks. It's not like Secretary of the Department of Labor that it draws the same line of character. You could have somebody that's flawed there, but because there's people in the civil operation that are going to do their jobs and all that. But in the military, in the rank and file in the military, the character of your leader infuses the organization more than anything else, any other operation in the country's history. And for 2 million people that serve in the military, that is incredibly important. And I think that's what people like Joni Ernst, why she turns. And I know Paul could talk about that, but that ranking and your ranking and how you are as a character is so exceedingly important up and down the ranks in the military.
Paul.
Character matters, and I think there's two pieces that are maybe a bit underreported. Number one, it is a violation of the UCMJ to commit adultery. Article 134 in the UCMJ prohibits adultery. So you can be punishable under the Uniform Code of Military Justice if you commit adultery. He has openly admitted he's done that. So that's issue number one. Number two, the thing with his mother just makes me sad. I mean, because now she's performing for Trump. There is an audience of one, and his mother is actually very charismatic, also very effective. I wouldn't be surprised if she got nominated for something in this administration. But to put your mother out there is also something else that I don't know what you'd have to do to me to put my mother in that chair right now. I would never do it. No job is worth putting my mother through that. And I've seen other family members have to go through similar things, advocating for suicide and other things. But this is on a whole nother level. And I don't know if that's going to work for him. And I don't know if it's going to work for Trump when he sees it on Fox today.
How do you think this ends?
I think it's going to happen within the next couple of hours, probably, with Joni Ernst. It's up to her, unless more stuff comes out, which is entirely possible because we haven't even gotten to January yet. So I don't know. I think the sign of Trump probably leaking DeSantis is a test balloon.
Four sources.
It's a test balloon. It's the Wall Street Journal. It's a place he always leaks stuff. So I think he's testing the weather and seeing how DeSantis is there, and he's probably got a backup plan. If he really wants to pull a masterful move, he'll nominate Joni Ernst, because she'll go right through, and she'll be the first female Secretary of Defense in American history.